What up, roomies? Tonight on Neighbors, we're bringing you something equal parts hilarious, creative, and downright unexpected. An international touring stand up comedian, producer, writer, and the host of The Social Hour, a show that brings comedy and culture to the audience nationwide. He's also the creator of Kill Stand, a graphic novel and comic universe that flips expectation and showcases his storytelling beyond the stage. We're talking to comedy, right? We're talking comedy, writing, producing, and the wild ride it takes to stay funny and authentic in the mix of the industry that never sleeps. Roomies, welcome Deezus.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's going on, my brother?
I'm good,
Yeah.
man. I'm just chilling, enjoying. I'm trying to survive my winter in Texas. It's a brisk 60 today, so that's our winter here. They're like, there's this winter storm warning thing this morning. I'm like, oh shit, it's winter storm warning. What's it going to get down to this weekend? Oh, you might hit 50, so I got to watch out. I might have to put some sweats on this weekend.
I know,
So
right?
yeah.
Right. I'm over here going crazy because I'm besides like doing the whole podcasting thing and DJing thing. I'm a property manager, so like right now I'm getting ready for like a winter storm of like 8 to 12 inches.
Oh yeah, where you at?
NYC.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a real winter there. I lived in Eastern Washington. I lived in Montana for a while, and that
Yeah.
those were real winters. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
so I'm over that though. I'll take the Texas heat over that any of that snow.
Bro, I would take the Texas Heat over this shit any day. Believe me on
Yeah,
that one, bro.
I ain't with that no more. That's one of the reasons I left.
Yo, bro, it gets harsh out here, but it is what it is. I guess we just all got to roll with the punches sometimes, and as I'm happy that so much snow and all the cold is coming because it's like the past like 7, 8 winters has been like real warm. So at least I
Really?
know that like global warming ain't hitting too hard up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You survive another couple of years in New York. Depending on what Mom Dami does, right? That may make a difference on whether. Uh,
No comment on that. You feel me? Like
you're not enjoying
when
the
it,
free
when,
buses. You're
what?
not riding the free buses yet.
Listen, I don't know what he was talking about, but being a true New Yorker, all the buses has always been free. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what
yeah,
you're
right,
talking about.
right, right. This
You know
is
what I mean? The bus has
it's
always been free, bro. So you know,
it's funny. Everyone I know who was like old school true New Yorker, like grew up there, was not with what he was talking about. It's all the people that have lived there for like 10 years. It seems like they were like, oh yeah, we got to do this, we got to do this. Um,
like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. Is like I grew up here all my life. I've been in New York all my life, right? And I've never seen the city so ghetto.
really, damn.
Facts. I'm 100%. Never seen the city so ghetto. Like you feel me? Like before, you used to see your occasional crackhead here and there.
Yeah, yeah,
Once in a while, but nah, they're like in droves in the
yeah.
train stations and the bus stops and all that stuff now, and it's insane because like every station has like a little crew of like dope fiends.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's different now too. I feel like because when I was a kid, because I grew up in South Central LA in the 80s, I mean, the height of the
Yeah,
crack epidemic, all that shit. So, like, we had crackheads around all the time, but back then, like, crackheads were useful. You could be
yeah,
like, hey, man, I got a pack of Newports on it if you watch this car, and that motherfucker make sure no one gets near that car, or you be, if you're parked in a sketchy neighborhood, right? Like, you got a crackhead guard in your car. That's like the Secret Service. But now these motherfuckers are weaponized. They're out there on fentanyl and tranquilizers and like doing all kinds of crazy shit, like
oh,
Walking Dead out there, you know?
yo, bro, it's insane because it's like around where I live, there's this one portion that has like this tunnel that leads to the station, and
Hmm.
throughout that tunnel, all you see is fiends, bro,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
insane because like kids walk through there, like everybody's going through there, and it's like, bro, like, come on, and I'm just wondering, is like New York City makes so much money. Why can't we clean this up? That's really like on the wave that I'm on. And I was like, I've never seen this through Giuliani, through all the mayors that I've lived through. Never seen it like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it getting worse everywhere, really, though. I mean, it's worse in LA than I've ever seen it. I lived in, Washington for a while. Seattle's a mess. Portland's a mess. I mean, up in Austin, I'm just by Austin, so Austin's a nightmare with homeless people and drug addicts. And you've probably seen that. What's that name of that street in?
Sixth Street.
No, no. There's that corner in Philadelphia that
Oh yeah. I know
where
exactly what you're talking about.
I forget what it's called, but it's just like zombie central. I mean, dudes just bent over, fucking the fentanyl fold they call it. Dudes just
Yeah,
bent over. Everyone fucked up on that shit. So
bro. Because back in the day, there was only like one block that used to have like it like profoundly seen like that in New York City,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
was like in 125th. But now it's just that shit's everywhere, and I'm like, bro, this shit is crazy. It's
yeah,
just insane
yeah.
to me.
It is because like they they make it sound like it's compassionate. They're letting they don't want to like bother these people. You gotta be they're homeless and they have addiction or like whatever. Which I get, it's all a struggle. But what about all the people that like pay taxes and are trying to live in this city or just get their kids to school or get to work? Like you can't sacrifice their day just because these people are kind of can't get their shit together.
Yeah, because they own one, and that's the crazy shit about it. Because the city is only getting more expensive and all that. Like
Oh
rent's through the roof. The buses is still free, like they
yeah,
always been.
yeah.
But I just don't get it, and I don't understand why people can't get it together. But yet again, it's a revolving door. You know what I mean? It's all about the money at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. That's for sure.
But yeah, man. But let the roomies know like what's your origin story, how you came up, and all that.
Oh man, where do you want me to start? You want you like fit the career and life in general, or man,
Like like
you
how
want
did
me
he
to-
get it? How did he get into comedy, producing, and like eventually writing Kill Stan?
Yeah, yeah. I got into comedy. I started comedy in 2006. Just started doing open mics at this bar I went to in Long Beach where I grew up. And you know, I always wanted. I mean, I grew up watching comedy. I just didn't understand like how I loved comedy. I just didn't understand how you could like. It didn't make sense to me how you could make a career out of it. Like I didn't
Yeah,
know. I didn't know you could like there were like comedy clubs. You could go do open mics at comedy clubs or show. Like, I had no clue how it worked. I just started doing it because the guy who ran the open mic thought I was funny. So he's like, "You guys start doing this. You guys start coming and doing material." So I did, um, and it just kind of grew. I was writing a book at the time, um, and I was trying to find work that revolved around writing. And I found a bunch of work online. There was people were hiring for comedy writers, like for comedy articles online. So I just submitted and I got some gigs and I started writing comedy and I started doing more comedy. And it just kind of slowly steamrolled, from there where I would you know, I kind of went away from stand up for a while. I didn't do a ton of stand up. I did a lot of comedy writing. I did a lot of sketch. I did improv. I wrote for a couple things, some real small TV, film stuff, and I started doing my podcast, weekly podcast in 2012. But then in like I don't know, like 2010, I guess when
yeah.
stand up kind of kicked in again real hard um, and then I've been doing it full time for like 10 years now. So
That's so dope. So it was just like somebody pushed you to do it, and it's been like your passion and like one of the roots in like your foundation now.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love it. I'm lucky enough to be able to get to do what I want to do, but I was never gonna like I wasn't gonna make it in like a 9 to 5. I mean, I dropped out of school when I was 15 years old and moved out of my parents' house, in the middle of my 8th grade year. I never went to high school one day in my life. And I was, juvenile delinquent, doing crazy shit in and out of jail.
Yeah,
And just shit was not for me. The conventional life was just not for me. So I was never going to be like, I work at an insurance company and, some brokerage firm or some shit like that. Like, that was just not for me. I loved creating too much. I loved kind of making my own schedule and stuff. So, yeah, I kind of propelled myself to do something that I loved and that, I actually wanted to do.
that's what's up. But so what's like so where do you get like so break down like the stand up formula, right? Like because I've always had like this one thing I've always said it to my peoples and all that before like one of my bucket list things is to do like a good 10 minutes.
Okay.
And one of my comedy friends, she was like, 10 minutes, you're probably pushing it. And I was like, I don't know. I was just like, I could go up there in 10 minutes, even if I get like booed off stage. I'll do an open mic, and, whatever. But that's one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
my bucket list things. So it's like, how do you like formulate like telling jokes? Like for like a crowd versus like you just talking and ranting with your friends.
It's very different. I mean, it's very different. Bullshitting with people, like some of the funniest people I know in conversation could never do stand-up comedy, right? Because it's
Yeah,
just like it's a different muscle. It's not like the problem is when you're in conversation and when you're bullshitting with your friends, you're shooting the shit, you're talking about very personal
yeah,
details, intimate things people know about, inside jokes and references that those people get. But the thing is, it's hard to convey that to an audience of 350 people, right? Because they
yeah,
don't know any of those fucking people. They don't know any of my asshole friends. They don't know the fact that, Dennis's girlfriend's a bitch and we all hate her. They don't know that. Sorry, Dennis. They don't know that
my
works
bad, Dennis.
she's not a big fan. She's not going to watch the episode. It's fine. Like they don't know. The people don't know that shit. And with comedy, it's all about like economy of words. So you have to convey the message to people as quickly as possible, right? Like
Yeah,
so if you take people can get lost very quickly. So you have to like it's you kind of have to make broad stroke statements. That's why you can't be like, well, I kind of like this thing, but here's what I don't like about it. You have to just be like, I fucking hate this thing. You may not fucking hate it, but you have to make like a strong statement so people are like, okay, I understand he hates this, and now he's going to talk about what he hates about it. Because if you're adding all this like qualifiers and bullshit and garbage people don't need to know, they get lost or confused or bored.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
it's
feel
just
it.
so it's like it's really finding things that material that people can relate to, and then also working it. I mean, I've still got jokes that I've been working on I revisit regularly that I've been working on for years that I just can't get to work yet. I know something's there, right?
Yeah,
But like, it's just not quite there. It's like when you're at the bar and you get there and you see that girl and you go talk to her and she's like, no, no, no. And you're like, have a couple drinks. Like, I'm gonna circle back in
yeah.
45. You see, you like try like the 10th time, or like, you keep trying again, but you keep getting rejected. But eventually you're like, eventually I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna figure it out. I mean, there's sometimes it just takes the right crowd or the right word or the right thing to like be like, okay, that I get it. That joke works now. Or like, just it takes time, So
I feel it. I feel you on that. I feel you. It's sort of like music too, because it's like since I produce and whatnot, like there's certain like melodies or like bass lines I have that have been sitting there for years that I just haven't gone back to.
right, right.
You know what I mean? Because it just hasn't like built itself yet. Do you see like? But I also see that like through experience and like through time and like through different like influences, I'll come back to something and be like, all right, cool. I could probably piece this together now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it kind of work like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, 100%. A lot of it is like you have a foundation, right? Like your baseline, your foundation of like, I want to tell this joke about how I think the Pope is gay or something. I don't know. And like, that's my premise. But like, I don't have all the I don't have the hi-hat. I don't have the fucking, I don't have the fucking synthesizer with it. I don't got
Yeah,
the keys yet. You just know that baseline, right? And part of it too is a lot of times you're just trying to like you're trying to hit a home run when really you should be focusing on just getting on base, right? Because
yeah,
like you're just not good enough yet at the sport when you start out, like I'm a guy where I think anything should be able to be talked about in comedy. I think
yeah.
you can joke about anything, you know nothing is off the table, and as far as
No,
I'm concerned.
that's facts because with comedy, what comedy is, you taking whatever the situation may be and making fun of it, and there's always medicine and humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, 100%. And then the problem with that is though, when you first start out, you are not funny enough to figure out how to do an abortion joke, or you're not funny enough to figure out how to do like a pedophile joke or something.
Yeah.
Like you can make those jokes, but you're probably going to try when you start out, but you're just not good enough to figure out how to deliver that to someone, or what the punchline is, or what to put it between to deliver it to someone. You know what I'm saying?
I
Right.
feel
Like
you.
you have to have the right delivery system to get it to people. And that takes years of just getting like those reps of how to get the people on your side, get the rhythm, get the right words to use so they understand what you're saying. And yeah.
Not for you on that. Well, you've been doing this for a hot minute, right? Like comparing it back to when you started to now, do you see that like people's attention spans are like shortening, and you have to like come like with like quicker punchlines and stuff like that?
Um, it depends on where you are, I mean, people are definitely dumber than ever. I mean, it's like, all our food is just poisoned by Roundup. So people are fucking getting brain tumors left and right.
Oh, and the Tylenol's giving everybody autism. Remember
Yeah,
that?
you're fucking. It's crazy out there, microplastics giving people smaller dicks. They got fucking, what? It's a weird time, What are you gonna do? But it depends on where you're at. It's younger people, yes, like younger people, it's harder to keep their attention. When you get to like people my age, like I'm 43. People around my age or older, it's a little easier to keep them engaged. But also people are in this weird space where they're so hyper focused on, they're so used to everything being about them,
Yeah,
because like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all about like what I'm doing, right?
true.
So everyone's got hyper, and I'm here to tell you guys, most of you, nobody cares what you're doing. We don't need to know. We don't give a shit. We don't care about your niece that graduated. We don't give a shit about your one-eyed cat. Like, fuck you. We don't care. Like, just fucking, if everyone unfollowed you, your life would be the same. Nobody cares about what you're doing. It's your anniversary. Great. Kill yourself. We don't care.
Wow.
The,
A bit of the voice, all right.
no, I'm just saying, like, but I mean, like, we,
No, I
but
know.
that's made people feel like they wanna, every experience has to be about them, and they forget about like the other people that are there, so it's people ruin things much easier these days because they're like, oh, I'm important, and you're like, no, you're not. You're
I
not.
feel you.
Yeah, so
I feel you on that, because it's like they're focusing so much on themselves that they're not allowing the occasion to like kind of marinate and just be in that moment present with everybody else.
yeah, they just want, they're just used to everything being focused on them, and self-entitlement, so it's a lot.
In all your years, have you ever had like some crazy wild stories happen while you're doing like stand up or like doing a sketch or whatever?
Oh my God. Probably, well, I mean, a couple times popped to mind. I mean, we got booked to do, me and a couple other people got booked to do this bar in somewhere in North Idaho, which is a pretty sketchy, like pretty racist, white supremacist. Like there's like once a year they go through downtown and they're like, hey, watch out for Jews around here, like that type of thing. They're like, they start putting flyers on cars and they're like, no Jews in the area and no one darker than Tom Petty, like
Oh my
that's,
god.
it's that type of area.
Nah,
So,
man. That's my worst fear, getting caught up in a sundown town.
oh my God. So it's me, one of my homies who's Korean, and a black dude. So me, I'm Mexican, Korean, black guy. We go to this town and we get booked to the show, and we walk up, and the black guy is late to the show because stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yep.
And we
Yo,
don't
I'm
act
Dominican. I'm
don't act
Dominican. I run on
like you guys know what
Dominican
I'm
time
talking
all the
about.
time.
Yeah. Come on, it just is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I get it. I'm just saying. So me and my homeboy Tony, the Korean guy, rolled together, and we show up there. And Tony's like a gregarious, like, I'm going to talk to anyone type of guy. And he walks up to the bar and we have no idea what to expect. And he's just like, hey, you guys here for the show? And this dude in like, shaved head, white dude, black leather vest, just a leather vest, like no shirt on underneath, like just turns around, looks us up and down and just straight up gives us like the fucking Zig Heil Hitler, just fucking boom, fucking gives it to us. Like hi, and I'm just like, I go, oh shit. And I start looking around the crowd and I start noticing like everyone looks like this dude. I'm like, this is gonna suck. Like we are fucked. So literally every time one of us was on stage, the other guys were like blocking the stage, trying to make sure no one came up on stage and attacked us.
Yeah.
And eventually these two big fucking crazy like cornbread motherfuckers from Alaska came up, and there were these oil rig guys. I mean, fucking like 6'6", just jacked out dudes. And they're like, hey, you guys were really fucking funny. You guys are hanging with us tonight. So if you have any problems, you let us know. Like, you smoke weed? I'm like, I guess I do tonight, man. He goes, all right.
Tonight I'm hitting that J, bro.
You're fucking smoking weed. I'm like, fuck, all right. So yeah, that was a wild one. We survived that one, but man, it was not great.
Yo, bro, I could just imagine like the thoughts that was going through your head once you realized there was like that type of situation. Because
yeah, it's like, what are we even doing here? I mean, but I've had that. It's funny thing is, almost all these shows are in Idaho somewhere, but some fucking skinhead bar. I've been to like a biker skinhead bar. They booked us at. I've done shows in Idaho where a girl jumped on stage and took a swing at me, over some joke.
Wait, hold on, time out. Bring that back. Why she was trying to swing at you? I need to hear this one.
So I have a joke in my set I call the Karen killer joke.
Yeah.
Because about 30% of the time, a middle-aged white woman will get up and walk out of my show because of this joke. And it's a joke about Catholics, right? And how Catholic priests have a tendency to fuck kids. So it ruffles some feathers, but I'm always like, don't be mad at me. Maybe be mad at the priest for fucking kids. I'm just bringing it up. They're the ones that are banging kids, I don't like, I'm not the villain in this scenario. So I say this joke and the lady got mad and she goes, say something else about Catholics again and I'm going to kick your ass. And I go, well, okay. And I just kept talking shit about Catholics. And, and this lady jumped on stage. Yeah, she took a swing at me. And I just like ducked and just pushed her off stage. And she fell off the stage over into a table and like shit went everywhere. It was,
highlight. That's a highlight reel right there.
Highlight reel for sure.
But man, that's so wild. So you've had a wild journey. Like, you've been to all these places. How you say you took some time off from stand-up to do like writing a sketch, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was still doing stand-up. I just wasn't doing it as much because I was writing. I was getting paid to write comedy and do stuff like that. So yeah.
And what projects were you working on at that time?
I was writing a lot of articles for this website. I did punch up on some shows. Just kind of some bullshit stuff, but I mean, it paid, so it was good. And that's really all I was trying to do was like kind of build the resume, get some contacts. I worked in radio for a little bit. I used to like I was considered a assistant producer, but I wrote bits for radio shows and like that they do live on air and stuff like that. I did some short film stuff, wrote some short films, did some, we won a couple festivals with some things I did.
That's dope.
And just shit like that. I was kind of just trying everything I could that I wanted to do. Anything that sounded like a good challenge. It may be like another notch on the resume and another cool thing to do. Then that's what I was kind of doing.
I feel you, man. So how now that you've done comedy, you've been writing. How did your podcast start, the Social Hour?
So I started the podcast in 2014, and really I just started it because I wanted a platform to kind of. I used to when I worked in radio for a little bit, like I said, and I used to listen to all these talk radio programs in the morning, and these like comedy talk radio things. I just loved the format. I thought it was so funny. So I wanted to do something like that because I like talking to people. I like interviewing people. And, this was before, I've been doing the podcast for fucking, 12 years now. So, I got in kind of early to the game. And it was just something I wanted to do. So I built a sound studio in my house, and a recording studio. I had a producer, I had a news anchor on the show. We'd do bits, we'd pre-record stuff. We had all the, we had guests in, and it was great. It's just a fun thing to do. It's evolved over the years. It's more of one-on-one interview shows, kind of like this now, but it just kind of was like, I could do whatever I wanted. And then it's actually one of the reasons that made me get back into comedy real hard is because I was doing an episode and I had a comedian on and she was like, "You still doing stand-up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of sometimes, just not like, not that much, not as much as I should." And she goes, "Shit." She goes, "Every single week you do 2 hours of free form comedy." She goes, "What are you doing? Like, why aren't you writing some of these premises down that you talk about, these jokes you make, and taking them to the stage?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a pretty fucking that's a good idea, actually." So I was like, yeah, I should do that. So that's one of the reasons I started doing more stand-up again. And I just knew it'd make me better at the podcast. I knew the podcast would make me better at stand-up. And it's why I did improv, because I knew improv would make me better at both of those things also. So it's part of the reason I did all the things I did too, because I knew each one would make me a little better at the other thing,
That's dope. That's dope. Yet again, it's like everything that you're doing is interconnected and is sharpening each skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to be like a Swiss Army knife of comedy where like, you don't have to like go through the master's class at the Groundlings, or like Second City to get a little better at improv, to get the basics. I'm a pretty good improviser. I went through quite a few classes. I did some teaching. I did some, I was a player at a theater for a while, at an improv theater. And so, it's like, but that helped me roll with stuff on the podcast. It helped me to be able to roll with stuff in real life, helped me able to roll with stuff when I'm on stage doing stand-up,
Not for you though. Like, and with everything that's happening, right? How do you stay like grounded? How do you like balance everything out?
I do a pretty high dose of psilocybin about once a month. That helps a lot.
I feel you, bro. I'm a bi-yearly guy myself.
Yeah. That's about. Staying grounded these days, it's fucking hard because I think everyone's lost their goddamn mind. I don't even know what the ground is. We can't even agree what the ground is anymore, let alone stay on it. So I don't know how we.
I think 2019 was the last normal year that we've had, and everything else been either shit or like wild.
I think we've been living in a simulation since 9/11. So I
could get behind that because. Listen, I'm going to be honest. The last thing I thought was going to happen this year is that we was going to kidnap a president of another country.
No shit.
I was just like, whoa.
I didn't have that on my bingo card for sure.
I should have put some money on that one. I would have came up.
Yeah. I didn't realize I didn't think, I had no idea that in 2026 we were going to be like, what's back? Imperialism. Fuck your as a nation state. We're gonna fucking jack your president, take all your oil,
But I'm not gonna lie, they did a smooth though. It was 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean they did it. They were slick with it, but man, that's we're living in like a fucking alternate timeline right now.
Oh,
Some sort of Black Mirror shit.
that ass for real, for real. CERN definitely blew up the universe. But yo, tell us about Kill Stan, your comic.
Hmm. Yeah, Kill Stan is a comic book I wrote. I wrote it I wrote it during COVID when I was like kind of locked down during COVID. Um, it's a story about a guy who wants to end his own life, so he decides to do it through vigilantism.
Oh,
Uh,
so this so suicide by evildoers.
yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, the idea was a couple things happened. So like January of 2020, another comedian, my best friend, he killed himself. So like
Oh, my
that was
condolences.
like a yeah, that was like a thing that was happening, a lot to deal with. And then kind of by the time that was starting to wind down a bit, COVID happened, and then I was just like locked in my house, right? Um, so I started writing and kind of thinking about, I'm watching all these protests across the country. You're watching people lose their livelihood, their businesses, all their financially, and people are
Yeah.
their health, mentally going crazy. And I'm sitting there going, damn, like how, thinking of my friend who died, thinking of how that makes me feel, thinking about this time being stuck here, thinking about all these people who are losing everything they have. And I'm like, man, how crazy could you get if you really had nothing to live for? Like really, really, like everything was gone and didn't matter. You had zero that you cared about, zero that mattered. Like how crazy could it get? Right. That was kind of
Oh,
what
it
I
can
was
get
thinking.
wild.
Yeah. That was kind of the idea. And then, I was thinking I for some reason I heard the phrase suicide by cop, right? And then the phrase suicide by vigilantism popped into my head. And I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty interesting. And I kind of started putting these ideas together, and it became this character, Stan, who the guy who has nothing left to live for, and wants to die, and he can't bring himself to do it himself. So he's like, I'll just go out and hit the streets, and someone's going to take me out. Like, I've got no training. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Um, and we meet him about a week into his journey, and it kind of propels from there. And, what happens to him, why we learn a little bit about why. And yeah, it's kind of one man's journey of loss, trauma, and the crazy things we do when we feel like we have nothing left to live for.
I feel you. I feel you. Does the Stan eventually, find the reason to live and decides just to be a superhero or not?
You got to read to find out, man.
Roomies, make sure to
Can't,
read it.
can't,
We ain't spoiling it here, but
yeah, man, you got to sell the sizzle, not the steak, baby.
I like that. I like that.
uh,
So, like, when you're writing you say you wrote it. Did you also illustrate it by any chance, or?
So this book I wrote and created it. I do the cover art, and then I do like rough layouts for the insides. And I've got an artist named Felipe Sobriera who does the detail work for me, and he's amazing. So shout out to Felipe, and then my colorist and letterer
Felipe.
G. Yeah, so I got a team of two other people helping me work on the book, and it's been been great experience.
I feel you on that. So, do you feel that writing the comic kind of like helps you like put your jokes together and like find other premises and shit?
No, I don't think they maybe in a roundabout way, not directly. The only way, directly, no, but also I want to write so many different things that sometimes I'm just tired of writing comedy, right?
Yeah.
So I want to write something that's so against type. I want to write something about a guy who wants to kill himself in this super dark story about a vigilante in this like crime noir vibe, right? Or maybe I want to write like a fantasy driven book about, starring a young girl, something like that. Like I want to write different things. I always want to force myself to write other stuff. So writing that doesn't help me write comedy, but writing that gives me a break from comedy, which helps me go
Yeah,
back to comedy with a fresh perspective, you know.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Let me see. So you've toured and you've been around the world and you've had all these experiences. Like, did besides like the passing of your friend, did any of those like experience come into like Kill Stan?
Um, well, I mean, a little bit. There's a lot of, how do I say this? Um, every work of fiction is based on a true story, right?
Yeah,
Is what I always say. And whether it's 1% or whether it's 99%, and they fudged 1%, or it's 1% true and they fudged 99%, um, there's still, it's all, there's a kernel of reality that they started with, which they turned into a metaphor. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pieces of my most hopeless moments woven into this, and a lot of things, times I've been at my darkest, right?
yeah,
So yeah, in that, yes, in that sense, yeah, there is that in there. What parts of it? Well, that's for you to guess and me to never tell.
facts.
So, but there's definitely, I mean, it's a character I write in the first person, and there's definitely parts where it's like, yeah, these are things, you know, you can write like that because they're things that you've
Cooked up.
gone through, you've thought about,
Yeah,
you've felt, you've tumbled with and tackled in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying?
true. You sir are a true artist on that one, because like no, that is because a lot of people don't realize like how much of a person goes into their work until they actually sit down and talk to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people now, and especially because of, we're forced to, as artists in the algorithm, we're beholden to this algorithm to get content out there, right? And the
Yeah,
algorithm wants a certain thing, and the algorithm might not want what you create, which means you have to bend your art to get into the algorithm. You have to compromise what you really want to do. And then when you do that, you're not even making the art you want to make. So whether people realize it or not, it becomes less magnetic,
yeah,
it becomes more hollow just by nature of the way true art is conveyed to people in like the ether, right? And it's like a feeling, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Because
So
you could feel when like somebody's putting their all into it versus they're just like mass producing things.
100%, yeah. And
Mm.
that's in like, so there's that weird line you got to walk of like, how do I get this into the algorithm without compromising my work? And you can definitely tell when people do. I mean, there's so many like I'm a big reader, and I
Yeah,
there's so many books I've read where I'll be reading a book that's like, I mean, you're talking old something like I don't know, like some fucking Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, right? Like some
yeah,
crazy from like 150 years ago, 100 years ago. And it's 300 pages, and I'm reading, and I'll get to like one page, and it'll be like three paragraphs of something, or like 2 pages in the middle of this 300-page book, and I'm reading, and I go, oh, this is where that book started. This thought is why Joseph Conrad wrote this whole fucking book about the ivory trade in Africa in the 1890s. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
he wanted this, he had this feeling of desperation and of bleakness in life. And this is where it's coming out. And he wrote this whole fucking amazing story around it, and it like, there's always that heart in there. Like, I'm sure I'm sure it's the same with music, like if you're in a certain mood, like if you're feeling more, like a little moody, a little blue, a little down, maybe love struck or something, like I'm sure the way the music comes out hits a little bit different. And like, you can kind of tell, like, oh, this person was like fucking
Hurt.
probably a little like, yeah, like this is a hurt beat. You know what I'm saying? This is someone who is
Yeah.
feeling something right now. And it's that same thing where you can pinpoint that little art, those pieces where you're like, oh, this is what they were trying to say with all this fucking bells and whistles they put around it.
No, I get you 100% because of the fact that um with stuff like with like when you create, right? People could feel the genuineness of it, based on one little part, like you said. And people like us, people who create, we could kind of pinpoint that more, I would say, more clearly than other people, where people would just say, yo, I get this vibe from this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But it speaks to me. Like that's the same thing when you're like in a museum and you're staring at a painting for a while. You're there like, yo, I see what the artist was trying to portray here. You know what I mean?
right, right. Yeah,
except except you're telling a story or you're making somebody laugh where a musician is moving your feet and whatnot, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for real, it's those things that I think we're losing in art, with like AI and again the algorithm and the attention span,
Yeah.
of just that like real soul and that real core of attachment. But I think part of it, this is getting like existential right now, but I think part of it is that people are very disconnected from themselves. So they
True.
can't feel anything genuine because they don't even feel themselves. They're not in touch with what they don't even know themselves or what they know, what they like and what they don't like, what they love and who they really are. So you can't even get in touch with things coming at you if you don't even know what you are yet. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
I feel you 10% on that. And then on top of that, you also the factor that we really don't take the time to slow down
Yeah.
and just like marinate in our own emotions and our own thoughts because everything is always coming at us so fast. And a great example of that would be like Instagram, right?
Hmm.
We'll take Instagram for example.
Yeah.
Instagram, if you don't pump Instagram up with like shorts and reels and all this other shit, constantly and at a certain pace, it'll it'll minimize your reach. Like
Yeah.
if you don't post anything for a while, only like I think it's like 5 to 10% of your actual
Yeah.
following sees it, and depending on how it does there, it'll release it to the rest. So it's like, what's going on with that? Just because of the fact that I'm not feeding the machine, I get penalized for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of affects in the downturn of it because most tech companies are taking that model on, especially when it comes to the arts like music,
Yeah.
writing, cinematography and all that. Once an artist takes his time or takes her time to actually like put a genuine piece of work out, it usually takes a longer period of time than, all right, cool, I'm gonna just slap this together and just put it out there, you know what I mean?
Right.
And for genuine art, they're being penalized for no reason. You know what I mean? Just because of the fact that they're instead of it, staying genuine and staying connected with people, they're only thinking about the consumerism and the time that's allotted on that app.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just, everything's just down to numbers and statistics and like
Yeah.
Moneyball shit. And which, it's like I get it. It's an app, it's a free app. They get money the longer you stay on their app. So they want, they want engagement. If you're engaging people on their app, but it's yeah, it's a shit system though. If and when it comes to absorbing anything genuine.
No, no, but if you would have like recall back in the day when like Instagram first came out or Twitter first came out, like you were able to find like new upcoming artists, new
Oh
upcoming
yeah,
writers, and it would pump them out because everything was like on an equal basis. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Now, if you look through your IG, I'm pretty sure all you see is ass and titties and maybe a little bit of comedy.
Well, in a shit ton of ads.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
shit ton of fucking, I get, you know, where it's like, it's half the shit, especially on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm scrolling and it's all like, suggested you follow this page, suggested you follow this page. I'm like, okay, but what about the fucking pages I do follow? Where are those? Why are you only suggesting me new pages? Like, where are the pages I actually do follow? Those are the ones I want to see.
Facts. And then on top of that, they listen to our conversation. So it's like I could be talking about getting new dog food, then I have 12 ads for
Yeah.
a brand new brand of dog food. I'm like, but I know what I'm gonna get. I know what I'm gonna get my dog, but why am I seeing so much dog food right now? I only spoke about that once.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, believe it. So I have a deviated septum, right? This is gonna be riveting for your listeners.
Yeah.
I have a deviated fucking some hot nasal talk. I have a deviated, fucking I'm gonna talk about how one testicle is larger than the other in just a second also.
Oh man.
I have a deviated septum. So like they have these new things you can buy. They're like these metal magnetic strips that like expand your nose, and they're supposed to be so you can breathe through both nostrils again, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking about them with someone. Now it's the only thing I see in my Instagram ads. So, you know, that and those light up butt plugs. But beyond that, it's just
A whole lot
the
of light up butt plugs. And the flashlights too.
You seen them new those they have those new implants they're giving on girls, titty implants with the
Oh, with the
light.
RGBs on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's like yeah, you can like it's like a light up Christmas tree, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, fire. Hook her up to a sound system. Them just be going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put on some put on some winger or something, some Guns and Roses and put her on that pole. We don't need turn the lights down. This lady's bringing her own
Yo, I'm telling you, she gonna be cooking, literally cooking, but she gonna be cooking. I'm telling you that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's you're definitely getting an operable tumor from that. So,
That ass, man. But it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how the people who entertain are usually the ones that are, subjugated to like big tech and like how they're dictating how art is portrayed. It really sucks.
yeah, yeah, it's I'm really trying to break out of that with the comic book. It's a little harder with comedy, just because, to to get booked at new places, they really want to see like in social media following, they want to see engagement, they want to see clips you put up and stuff like that. That's how this comedy works now, just the way it is. But
Yeah.
with the comic book, it's a little different, it's more in person. Like yeah, like I do a lot of conventions, so you actually get to sit and talk to people one on one. They come up to your booth, you're talking about your book, you're talking about books they're carrying, what are you reading, and like there's more engagement. It feels a little more personal. So I have some hope that there's like a core of people there that are going to carry on this real art thing.
No, they are, bro. You're building a whole universe right now. So it's like people are gonna gravitate towards that. It was like, for instance, like who would have thought that like Harry Potter would have blown up the way it was?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're building a whole universe, so it's just a matter of time before you're gonna have that core following, and then it's just gonna expand from there, and become massive.
Yeah, let's hope
Would you
so.
ever would you ever consider like animating it or like making it into like a movie?
Listen, I've made this clear many, many times in my career. I am easily bought. So okay, it's not even going to be that expensive. Okay, guys, I'm telling you, I am a cheap whore. If you got something if you want to if you have some money you'd like to put my way, we can probably make a deal on an anime. I don't care what you do with it. Listen, you can make it. You can make it for kids. You can make it a fucking hentai cartoon. I don't care.
Bring on the tentacle porn.
Yeah. Um, no, I mean, I would love to do something with it. All jokes aside, I would be pretty pretty protective about it though, because I really would not. I wouldn't just sign it over to someone and say, okay, like license them the rights and then be hands off on it. I would have to be very involved in the process because I want it to be true to what the message of the story I'm crafting with Kill Stan is. I don't want it to just be like, hey, this is just a superhero thing, or this is just a vigilante story now. I'm like, that's not what this is. In fact, him being a vigilante is really just like a ruse to get more people to buy it. There's really not a lot of vigilantism in it. It's just like it's just a trick to get people to go, oh, cool, and then they get stuck, then they start reading it, then they're halfway into it, and then they realize they're actually reading like a fucking character piece about this guy wanting to kill himself. And so you have to like trick people into
you give them the okadoke, baby.
Yeah, well, it's like I said with comedy, you have to find the palatable way to deliver this thing to them. So, you got to hide it in different ways. The best delivery system,
Now I feel you, D. What? All right. So when you do get bought out, right?
Yeah.
Who would be your director and who would be like your star?
That's a good question. Good question. Man, who would direct the movie? This is gonna sound crazy, but nah, part of me wants to say I wish Stanley Kubrick was still alive to do it, but I maybe like David Fincher. He might be able to do it justice. I think it's got to be grounded in reality. It's more like a crime noir story. So like what's his name? Casey Affleck. Casey Affleck's a really good director. He's done some cool crime adjacent stuff that I think he could do a good vibe on it. As for the guy who plays him, I don't know if someone else asked me this, and I don't know. So he's Latino, and I don't know of any like young or like kind of late 20s, early 30s Latino actors that are really popping right now.
How about the guy who plays Luffy in One Piece?
I don't know what that live is. Action? I've heard of One Piece. I've never seen it. So yeah. What's his name?
Wow. Let me look it up. I don't remember.
Who's he play?
Luffy from One Piece.
How do you spell that?
One Piece. Luffy.
Oh, Luffy, and the live action one, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Probably needs to look a little rougher than this kid. Kid looks a little soft. Well, it does have a straw hat. He is dressed like a fucking even gayer Aladdin, so that doesn't help. But it could just be the outfit. Sorry, fucking Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece, but you're fucking whoever. You gotta talk to the wardrobe department and fucking goddamn Jesus Christ. They're just like, it looks like he just got off the boat from Epstein's Island. Damn.
Wow.
Over there. This kid is yeah, so someone I maybe a little more a little rougher, a little more desperate. I like a young Benicio del Toro would be great, something like that.
Okay.
Kind of the vibe, a little grittier,
a little bit more gritty.
Yeah, that like just aged beyond his years because of his experiences. You know what I'm saying?
I'll feel you on that. So, what would you say would be the biggest piece of advice you wish every comedian would have heard?
Quit now.
Wow.
Just quit. And don't do it. The best advice I can give a young comedian is no, this is gonna be like a weird, it's gonna be like a haiku, but know that you're not as good as you think you are, and also take the gig you're not ready for, which is conflicting advice. But a lot of comics, it's like this weird thing where comedians will be like 6 months in, I'll be like, how much time you got? Like, oh, I can do like 45 minutes. I'm like, no, you can't. I'm like, if you could do 3 good minutes, I'd be surprised. But it's like people, it's so there's this like, when you're a month in, you say you have 5 minutes. When you're 6 months in, you think you have 30 minutes. And when you're 3 years in, you think you have 10 minutes, because you're realistic. You fucking understand now, but I would just say take chances, take stage time that sucks at first, take gigs that are hard, bomb a lot. You're gonna bomb a lot. If you're not bombing a lot, you're not taking chances, you're not doing enough rooms, you're not doing enough diverse rooms, you're not trying anything new if you're not bombing a lot. But get used to that feeling and be okay with it. Know that it's part of the process, and know that like you're always going to bomb at some point. Hopefully it's much less often as you go through, as you get better. But I mean,
hopefully your ratios improve.
Yeah. The numbers should start shifting. But like, if anyone, I mean, any comic I meet who's like been doing it for a long length of time and says they don't bomb, I'm like, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar, or you're doing the same set to the same fucking audience, and you're not taking any chances, right? Like, you're not writing anything new. You're not actually like taking any real risks in comedy. So yeah, I mean, even like I listen to guys like Mark Norman and these big comics, and they talk about even them still. Dave Chappelle will talk about bombing still. If Dave Chappelle can bomb, fucking listen, fucking guy who lives in Arkansas and who's never been on TV, you're probably bombing occasionally too.
Yep, you know that shit. And what's up next for you? Any big upcoming projects that you can let the roomies know about?
Yeah. So we're working on Kill Stand number 4. That'll be coming out soon. I've got some other projects I'm working on for comic book wise. So you can follow us on inferno.earth. That's the Instagram, and our website is inferno.earth. You can order all the comic books on there directly from us. I've got live dates everywhere. Just go to deececomedy.com to check that out. I've got a special on my website, deececomedy.com, called Not Your Cup of Tea. We're doing a promo right now where you can pay whatever you want, and it's about donation only. Pay whatever you want. We'll send you the full 1 hour special to watch. And I'm actually thinking about filming another special soon. But the caveat is I'm going to do it with a bunch of material that I never perfected, that I've only like maybe done a couple times, or like premises I came up with and jokes. I want to call it the garbage. Like, I want to call it garbage, all the stuff that kind of got thrown away and cut. And I want to bring it out and like do it in front of a live big audience, basically like first time out of the gate, and see how they go, and maybe like improv off them a little and riff on them and see if we can figure them out on the spot.
Can I pitch a name to you real quick?
Yeah.
Dumpster Fire.
Okay, I was gonna call it garbage, but Dumpster Fire is good too. It's got to be something like that where people know what they're getting into when we film it, and it's not going to be like a full hour. I'll probably do just like the half hour,
I feel you.
but I think it'd be a fun way to get some other material out there and do something that's, interesting, where I say it and we can talk. I'll riff on it and kind of see what happens.
I feel you, bro. And any final thoughts or any final comments you want to leave the roomies with?
Buy my comic book, please, and stop voting.
Yeah, you heard him. Yo, room.
I don't care who you voted for. I fucking hate them, and I think they should probably die. So just think about it next time. Think about it.
I feel you, bro. And roomies, remember, keep creating, keep striving, keep doing your thing. You're gonna bomb a lot, and last but not least, don't pull out. Peace out.